In today's video, I wanted to answer some questions from some awesome viewers, so let's get into answering some questions. What's up, my friends? Welcome to an all-new video, something a little bit different, something new that I wanted to kind of try out, and that was answering questions from some of you awesome individuals. I posted on Instagram and then even posted about it, I guess, on YouTube as well, telling people to go check out my Instagram, which if you're not following, it's ThatChrisChaos, or do a search on Instagram for Christopher Chaos and you'll find me. And I wanted people to send me some questions. I got a few people that, were willing to participate and put themselves on camera or do a little video, I guess, response and ask me a question. And I thought I would, return the generosity of you, participating in this and actually answer your question via a video. So there's only a few of these, but we'll go ahead and answer these and kind of talk a little bit about the topic as well and help some of you individuals out that may be curious of these similar type of questions. So let's get into it and let's answer the very first question.
How do you get hometown recruiting, and how long is hometown recruiting?
So the question is, how do you get hometown recruiting and how long is it? Well, how you get hometown recruiting usually comes down when you're in AIT or towards the end of OSIT, depending on what you're doing for the Army. And typically the drill sergeants will kind of have some kind of information they'll be putting out maybe towards the last few weeks or whatever of OSIT or AIT. And they'll see if anybody wants to do hometown recruiting. They'll usually kind of explain what hometown recruiting, if you're not familiar with hometown recruiting, it essentially means you get to go home, work with your local recruiters in your hometown, and help them try to recruit people to join the United States Army. And so you're kind of working as a recruiter-ish part-time for about 2 weeks. And that's how long it is 2 weeks. But how you do it is those drill sergeants usually ask for people who want to do that. They have usually a form that you have to fill out, and then you have to fill out this form, and it's basically 2 weeks of free leave. Now, how much you have to do while on hometown recruiting, that sometimes depends. Like for mine, I did hometown recruiting when I got at AIT, and because my recruiter station that was near to my hometown was not in my hometown, it was actually like an hour and a half or an hour away, I was just kind of supposed to try to find friends or people that wanted to maybe join the Army or maybe are interested and want to know about the Army and kind of push their phone numbers off to the recruiters. And then there was one particular day that they were coming to my high school to talk to the band about how they can join the Army and play in the band. And so I had to get in my dress uniform to go talk to them with them. So I really only did 2 days worth of work and then got, the 2 weeks of not having to do anything other than those 2 days. So it's pretty good for me. A lot of other individuals I've talked to, they've either had similar experiences, or I've also talked to several people that had to do PT every morning with their recruiters. We're working in the recruiter's office, helping them with the recruiting stuff for the whole 2 weeks. So it's kind of varies as far as how much work you'll do or how little work you do, but that's how you do it. Fill out some forms, get it approved and everything. The drill sergeants will approve it out of AIT, and then it's about 2 weeks long. Technically, you can actually even do hometown recruiting if you're already at your unit. So you can technically fill out the paperwork at, maybe you've been at your particular duty station for a year, 2 years or whatever. You ask your leadership, hey, I want to do hometown recruiting. And if they really want to approve it, they could approve it. And it's not only for new soldiers. Technically, it's available for anybody that wants to put in for it. But obviously, it's a little bit more harder to get it approved once you're at your regular unit. But it's pretty much a guaranteed almost thing after AIT if offered it. So I highly encourage doing it. It's fun. Plus, it's also 2 additional weeks that you get to spend back home if you're available to be able to do so.
My name is Joseph Conti. I live in New Jersey. I'm not shipping off anytime soon, but I wanted to know what the most dangerous MOS would be in the U.S. Army, and you seem to answer all the questions. I like your channel.
So awesome, man. Thank you very much for watching and everything like that. So the question was asking what the most dangerous MOS or job was in the United States Army. There are quite a few. I mean, some of them have different levels of how dangerous they are. If we're talking about the most dangerous ones, you're probably going to have special forces. Special forces individuals are constantly going on deployments, so they're putting their neck out there a lot, quite often. I'd also say infantry, although infantry may not be deploying as often as special forces. They're having to rely on when their unit deploys, but their mission that they do is a fairly dangerous one. You're going on raids, you're having kicking in doors, you're searching buildings. It's a fairly dangerous job, so that one is pretty dangerous. Not trying to say that my MOS is hardcore and everything like that, but 88 Mikes and other individuals, I guess, that are on the road all the time for the current kind of warfare of Iraq and Afghanistan is a fairly dangerous job as well. Now, not in the same, I guess, aspect as like special forces or infantry, but because of the threat of roadside bombs and VBIDs and everything, it makes it quite dangerous. Like I said, I'm not going out there and saying that 88 Mike is more dangerous than infantry and special forces or anything, but it is quite a dangerous job. Anybody really on the road. I mean, you could be EOD individuals, you could be MPs that are patrolling the roads and everything like that. Those jobs are at high danger of VBIDs and IEDs, so that's pretty dangerous too. But as far as the most kind of combat related or dangerous type of MOSs there is in the Army, Special Forces is probably, in my personal opinion, the top of that list. And then like infantry would probably be up there too. And then a few other kind of similar jobs, sometimes depending on the mission, like scouts, your 19 Deltas, and other, combat arms type of MOSs, something like along those lines. But top of my list would probably be Special Forces, and then probably closely, or not really closely, but not far down, I guess, would be those 11 Bravos. Next question, this guy didn't want to show his face, and that's cool, whatever, but there wasn't a lot of people that submitted questions, so we'll go ahead and cover this one too, I guess.
So, what would be a great time to enlist when in high school or start the process?
So the question basically asking when's a good time if you're in high school to get the process going of joining the Army or to join the Army. And it kind of comes down to, I guess, your personal preference in some ways. For like example, when I wanted to join the Army, I wanted to make sure that I was going to get a chance to kind of enjoy my summer vacation a little bit one last time before I was off to the military. So I was starting the process while I was, still a senior in high school. I think I still had probably like 3-4 months, maybe 2 months or something like that, left of high school before I kind of started the process. But I still was making sure that my ship out date wasn't until towards the end of my summer vacation or the summer time frame. I left in August, and I wanted to make sure I had some time to hang out with my friends, hang out with my family, and just enjoy a little bit of freedom, of being out of high school before I dedicated however long, to the Army. At that time, I was thinking 4 years, but that ended up being a lot more. But I wanted to enjoy my time. So it's kind of personal preference as to how soon after high school do you want to ship out. If you want to go fairly soon, then while you're still a senior in high school, you want to start getting the ball rolling. You want to make sure you knock out your ASVAB. You want to start talking to the recruiters. You want to see about trying to get to MEPS, trying to make sure you're not going to have any kind of hiccups at MEPS that's going to require a waiver to slow you down on the process. So if you're trying to get out, of high school and go very soon off to basic training or OSIT, then you want to kind of get the process going, while you're in your senior year of high school at least. If you want to, maybe get a little bit of schooling in, you want to enjoy your summer, you want to enjoy some time, then you might be able to push it off until a little bit later. But then you have to make sure that you have your finances in order, unless you're just going to live with your parents, I guess, for a little bit longer. Because, after high school, maybe you have to move out. I don't know. I guess it depends on your family situation and everything like that. So it really just comes down to how soon after high school do you want to take off for the Army. If you want to take off soon, then I recommend starting during your senior year. If you want to give it a little bit of time and you got a little bit more leeway, then maybe you wait a little bit longer. All right, we got one last and final submission to check out to answer some questions for.
Oh, sorry, Chris. I meant to have it on my face, but I wanted to ask you, how do you give advice to somebody that's trying to choose between the Army and the Navy when the choice is so obvious?
All right, so for those of you that may not know, that was Nikki from Nikki MGTV, another military YouTuber. He does Navy-related content, so if you're interested in the Navy, maybe check out his channel and kind of, poking a little bit of fun, because I'm Army and he's Navy, but it does still raise a good question, I guess, that I hear a lot of times where people are asking me, how do I decide which branch of the military to join? Do I decide to go to the Army or Air Force or Navy or Marines? And that comes down to personal preference as well. But one of the key things you want to kind of look at is, what do you want to do? What kind of career do you want to do? Obviously, you want to work on ships, then, the Navy probably is the best option for you. You want to do things with vehicles, then maybe you want to look at the Army or maybe even the Marines. You want to do combat-related jobs, then Army and Marines would probably be your best way to go. You probably wouldn't want to go necessarily Navy unless you're trying to go for Navy SEALs, or you wouldn't want to go maybe Air Force either. So you have to just kind of look at what it is you want to do and which branch of service is going to offer that experience to you based on what you want to do and who can, give you that better training. So that's what you have to kind of analyze. But there's also a couple other factors you have to kind of put into it as well. The Army guarantees for the most part your MOS. You qualify for that MOS if you've got the requirements on the ASVAB and everything else is qualified, then, and they have the slots, I guess, available for that MOS, then you get that MOS, and that is locked in, and that's where you're going to go to. The Marines, Air Force, and Navy work a little bit differently. There are some circumstances where you can lock in your specific job that you want to do, but then there's also other circumstances where you can't. So that one is a little bit more flexible on whether or not you're going to be able to get specifically the job you want to get, where a lot of people find that they want to join the Army because they have a little bit more kind of say in what they're going to get to do in the military. So a lot of times people choose that. But like I said, it just comes down to certain circumstances, because there are circumstances where the Navy or the Marines or the Air Force, you can specifically choose your job. It's just not quite as, easily accessible to be able to do that like the Army makes it kind of do. So that kind of depends. But it comes down to what you want to do. I don't say that the Army is better. I don't say that the Air Force is better, the Navy is better, the Marines is better. It comes down to what you want to do and which branch of the military is going to be able to facilitate that job the best. So I'd like to possibly see about doing more videos kind of similar to this, or maybe I answer some questions from you awesome viewers. So if you are not following me on Instagram, make sure you head over to Instagram, search for the username ThatChrisChaos, or even just search for Christopher Chaos. I'm sure you'll find my picture, you'll find my Instagram inside there, and you can follow me, and you can also send me a message and ask me questions, or maybe you want to, be featured in one of these future videos, then shoot me a little video clip of you asking a quick question, and maybe it'll be featured in an upcoming video similar to this kind of style. But on that note, we will close this video out. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Christopher Chaos, and I will see you next time. Make sure you like that video. See ya.